Hello! In this video we'll focus on Adobe Commerce Cloud logs functionality. This is a topic that is often overlooked until an issue arises. Therefore, it is crucial to understand the various locations where logs can be located and as well as the information they hold. We'll begin by exploring where the logs are stored, and then we'll take a hands-on look at various types of logs. Alright, so where we can find logs? Firstly, we can find logs in environment's file system. So we have logs from Adobe Commerce instance that are located in var log directory inside of the Adobe Commerce project. And they contain app-specific logs unique to a particular environment. And as you can see on slides, the Adobe Commerce directory varies depending on the environment. In integration environments, we simply use the /app/var log directory to see the logs of Adobe Commerce instance. But when it comes to staging and production environment, there is additional directory in between. So, for example, on staging, you need to specify /app/the project ID with underscore and staging. And of course the home directory, so when you firstly log into SSH or for example staging environment, you will be like by default in the app project ID staging directory, so you don't need to specify it, but it's nice to know that those directories varies depending on the environment. And the same is with system logs. So also when it comes to staging and production environments, we need to specify the project ID, and on staging the underscore staging, for production just simply project ID. Besides application logs, we have also system logs that are located in the root var log directory, and they consist, for example, of PHP access logs, Nginx error and access logs, cron or deployment logs. We will see them in action later, so we'll cover it in a second. It is important though to remember that both Adobe Commerce and system logs directories are not shared between nodes in a cluster. So in production and staging environments, you must check the logs on each node. And as we already know, we also can see some logs related to activities in our Cloud console. So we simply just click on a button related to an activity to see, for example, the deploy or, for example, backup activities. Also, we can use Magento Cloud CLI to see some logs from our systems, and there is special comment to it called Magento Cloud logs. And also we can use activities comments in Magento Cloud CLI to manage our activities. So we can, for example, see ongoing activities. We can even cancel an ongoing activity. So actually this will be covered in the next video. And last but not least, logs and other data can be monitored in New Relic. So New Relic, in short, it offers a handy centralized log management dashboard that helps in troubleshooting and monitoring your Adobe Commerce Cloud infrastructure for production and staging environments. And I love to use New Relic. It is a great tool. It helps a lot, but this is a topic for a separate video. Alright, so now let's switch to our shell and we will SSH in one tab to our develop environment. So we will simply use Magento Cloud SSH. We can specify the environment, so develop, and the same we will do in the second tab. So we will do a production environment. So here you can see that we are in develop environment. Here we can see that we are in the there is no such information that we're in the production environment, but we are surely in it. And for example, if we right now specify the directory we are in, so we can use the pwd option, you can notice that was on slides that in the integration environment we are simply in the app directory, and within the production environment we are in the app and the project ID directory. And let's go to the var log directory and let's simply list the files that are here and also in the production environment. And here we can see the out-of-the-box logs from Adobe Commerce, like exception log, cron, system log, and so on. But we have two interesting files here. Firstly, there is a cloud log and cloud error log. So let's see the content of the cloud log firstly. We'll just simply specify the F option to see the end of this file, and this file contains all the information about build, deploy, post-deploy phases that happens after you push change to your environment. So this is basically the same that you can see in the Cloud Console when you click on the activity, and the logs from this activity basically are here. When it comes to cloud error log, as you can expect, it contains information about errors. So if we list, and maybe we can create cat, or not, just dial in 200 lines from the cloud error log, and we can see there is like couple of JSONs here with some errors, and it only contains errors from the last deployment. So instead of searching errors in cloud log, we can use the cloud error log to get all the warnings and errors from the latest build, latest deployment. And of course we can see JSONs here, and we can like use some reformatting tool to prettify it, but there is actually a great comment in ECE tools. So if we get back to the home directory, so into the Adobe Commerce directory, we can use vendor bin ECE tools, and there is comment error show. This will take a couple of seconds, and after it we should see the same errors from the cloud error log, but in the better format. So for example, here we can see there is error code 1008 with the check if your cloud template contains something, and the same is here. So if you see any warnings, any errors, so instead of searching this activity logs with all different kinds of data, you can simply use this ECE tools and error show command to see the only warnings and only errors. In the production environment, we have the same logs here, so system log, cache log, cron log, and so on. But please note that on staging and production environments, logs are compressed and archived once per day and kept for 1 year. Therefore, we can access old logs whenever we need it. And also we need to be aware that those files are not shared between nodes of your production environment. So right now we are in the first instance of production environment, but if we switch to a second instance, we will have a totally different files here with different content, because as I said, those files, those logs are not shared. And those logs are compressed and archived, right? And this is called automatic logs rotation. And except Adobe Commerce logs, we also have system and services logs that can be found in the root var log directory. So if we switch right now to the integration environment and we go to the root var log directory and we list files here, we can see that we have a different files, different types of logs here. So we can see, for example, logs related to deploy or post-deploy phases of a deployment. We can also see logs for PHP access, Nginx access related to cron, DNSs, and so on. Also, for example, we have a directory with specific Nginx or Blackfire, because Blackfire was installed on this production environment. So all those logs can be found here. And also the same can be found on the production environment. So let's go to the root var directory and log. And now, as you remember, we need to specify the platform directory. And here there is this project ID directory. So let's confirm that and let's list the files that are here. And we can basically find the same logs that are in the integration environments, plus some additional ones related to some services. For example, there is New Relic or Redis server. Also, for example, when we talk about MySQL or OpenSearch, there are different directories in the server that you can find them. So I would suggest to actually check the documentation, because they are specified in the Adobe Commerce Cloud documentation. And also here you can see the same situation that were in the var log of Adobe Commerce. So we have automatic log rotation, so the same logs are compressed and archived and kept for some time. Additionally, service logs are archived with different set of rules than system logs. So if you need to check that, please contact with your Adobe support. And also it is important to mention that for staging and production environments, the deploy and post-deploy logs from the deployment process can be only found on the first node. So when we talk about the second instance or third instance, you will not be able to find those files there. So when it comes to logs in our environment's file system, and that would be it. Let's now switch to our browser, and right now we are in the develop environment. We have a list of activities, and as you already know, we used that already a couple of times. So here in the recent list of activities or in the all activities list, we can see logs from a particular activity, and there are some additional comments in Magento Cloud CLI that we can use to manage them, but as I already said, this will be covered in the next video, so we'll not cover that. We can simply just click on the success logs to, for example, see logs from this particular activity. And we will again switch to our shell because I want to show you one more additional comment from Magento Cloud CLI. So like I said, activities will be covered later, but there is this, let's firstly go to our Vaimo project, and there is this Magento Cloud logs comment. Let's try to help option. Firstly, let's maybe close the production environment, and here we can see that it can read an environment's logs. So we can specify the type of a log that we want to see. We can even specify how many lines we want to show, or we can use the option tail to automatically see like the recent logs entries. And if we do not specify any comment, like any additional type, simply logs, this will display us different types of logs that are available on this environment. So for example, we can see logs related to cron if we specify the number 3. So here is everything from the cron log file. So for example, if we use the same option here, like tail 20, for example, for cron log, we can see the same exact logs entries. And let's try, if we switch Magento Cloud checkout production, let's run the same command. Let's see if we have some additional types of logs here, and yes, we have. And as we saw previously, on the production environment, we had like Redis server, or we have New Relic PHP. So also those types of logs can be fetched from the Magento Cloud CLI logs command. And of course, like I mentioned already in slides, we have New Relic, but this topic is quite extensive, so it may require its own separate lesson. For now, that would be all. In the next lesson, we will cover those activities. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.